abandoned location, and it's freezing out here. I can't believe people still live in this area in the middle of nowhere. Let's explore the two abandoned buildings right here. Let's walk in and take a look at what's inside. This one here, completely torn up. People have knocked the walls in and ripped the ceilings down. Welcome everyone to Weekend Escapades. I am standing at the crossroads of the Salt Lake and Los Angeles Railroad. Right around here you can see where they intersect behind me, but this is Lund, Utah. We just made it through Burl, and I'll share that with you here in a minute. But what's left of Burl, because all of these towns are right on the railroad. So that's really what this is. This is kind of an unincorporated town that's behind me. It was really a railroad stop, and there's even one of the towers where the water tower was. We'll share what's left there. But let's dive in and take a look at the abandoned buildings that are right here in Lund. Burl Junction was back down the road off the Burl Highway, but this is right on the railroad tracks. They're right there. You can see some of the cars that are still lined up here, and the Weekend Escapades van in the background. We filmed the rail car before. I always want to come by and see this once a year because things change so quick. A lot of this building down over here has fallen down. That was like a general store that they had, and it's just getting worse and worse. About a year and a half ago, that was still up, this part over here. Now it's down, but they lived here and ran a general store. Here's the rail car, and I was told that this was a post office area, and this was part of the whole post office and this little store that was here. This is still fascinating to see the old rail car still sitting out here. The construction of these were crazy. But yeah, we filmed it a few times. Wanted to come by here because we are headed over to Lund. And Lund has got the original railroad houses where the railroad workers used to stay. And they're just kind of skeletons of buildings, but they're preserved so well. They're just fascinating. These trees are just kind of incorporating themselves into the old rail car. But every once in a while, every year or so, we come by and take a look at it. This tree was up too, and it is uprooted and fallen over. The wind gets to whipping out here. So we're going to move on down the road that way, and that's going to be east towards Lund. And I believe this road going along out here through Lund is the Lund Highway is where it's going to come out. And Lund Highway kind of connects with Burl Highway. Look at the little babies. No fence, they're just running wild out here. You never know what you're going to find. Those little bitty ones, they appear to be coming right for us. You think we're going to feed them or something? No, I feel bad. This is literally in the middle of nowhere, in my opinion, with all the snow-capped mountains around us. There's a few people still living here, and I'm telling you, it has got to be tough because it is windy and cold and flat in this valley. And not many people still here, but there's a few. I have no idea what people do for a living. Maybe there's some farming out here, but it is very sandy and cold. All right, so this is the two buildings. Now these were homes that housed the railroad workers. And every time we come here, there's just a little bit more damage done to them. But the outsides are really well taken care of. People go inside and they punch through the walls and things. Now this is about 35 miles kind of southwest of Cedar City in the Escalante Valley. Now this is really an unincorporated town, is what it is, kind of a village. And this area was set up, again, for railroading. But these houses were quite nice. You know, they were landscaped, had some big trees behind them, but a lot of those trees are just dead now. It's so dry and sandy out here. But this is, these are really, really beat up now. But these are probably nice little houses people stayed. Well, that has got all the makings of a haunted house for sure. Coming here at night, that would look extremely, extremely eerie and scary there. All the open rafters. But people come by and they punch holes in the wall. They think that's a lot of fun. Probably shoot them up, but there's not that much graffiti. So this is way off any highway. So kind of way out, but there's a closet there. Just a little bit of writing. Again, this community, not very many people living here. A front door. So this was a station stop for the Salt Lake and Los Angeles Railroad. Again, where all the workers stopped and took their rest as they were doing their thing here along the railroad out in the middle of nowhere. Look at that, you got a picture of the old Weekend Escapades van in the background. What it was, again, an unincorporated town, so kind of interesting the fact that it was, you know, there's a basement here and all that as well, because, you know, you'd think as a rail stop for the house. I'll go down towards this basement and see what's in there. Yeah, probably kind of just a place to store things. Not real big. I thought it'd be bigger than this under the whole house, but it's kind of here. Maybe they kept perishables and things in here. But this was really early 20th century. So there's a lot of pioneering in this town as well before all this, because there's a lot of ranching and things out here in the this little Utah Valley. Let's go up the stairs and look what's in here. Still has a linoleum on the floor. So again, really the weather, I think, really preserved it here. Because it's so dry. Because if this would have been in a wetter area, these places would have just been demolished. But it's really funny how the siding and the stucco is in such good shape. So this area was established in 1898, and the population just stayed very small till 1911. And that's when all the railroading and things started to take place. But the town itself still, it's so small, and the area stayed small. But there are some pictures that are pretty amazing because they had a train stop here where people would get on and off the train. And there was even, if I'm not mistaken, an old ticket booth in town. We'll drive through town. I think that it's still on one of the properties that one of the people have still occupy. So I think what they did is in front of their property, that building is still there. Man, these old trees, they're just still in the ground. They're just dead. A few of them have fallen over. The wind just whips through here. So. And again, I don't know how anything lives out here. It's so dry. In the summertime, it is cooking. We came in the summertime and it was over 100 degrees out here. But again, in the winter with the wind chill's ridiculous. And no moisture. That thing's been around for a while. Imagine at one time there was probably a tire swing hooked up to it and probably enjoyed these little houses. Another one with a little cellar down below. Yeah, they're really just little root cellars. This one's got a nice little cement back patio. They're not huge houses, but they're really like a 2-bedroom kind of a thing. Had nice kitchens. Be a pretty comfortable house even by today's standards. Little sparrow nests in there in the corners. You can hear the birds chirping in there. The electrical box, so they were more modernized. Again, they've just been let go, and when they abandoned them by the railroad, they probably didn't need to have these as stops anymore. So they just sat here. You can imagine there's houses older than this that are still in good shape. So when you think about it, if they wouldn't have abandoned them, they probably could have had them as still functioning houses. You got to watch it. There's some graffiti on the walls that are kind of rude, but you never know what you're going to get. It's all open up there. The rafters, people have pulled everything down. Wow, these are wide open and dry. So these are the two buildings. My hands are freezing. These are the two buildings that are out here in Lund. I'm always amazed by them, again, because the outsides are so well preserved. But people keep messing around with the insides a little bit. Better to just kind of look inside and walk in the front porches and take a look at them. They're very sturdy still. Kind of amazing they're white, just sitting out here in the middle of nowhere. So they stick out like a beacon. But we always want to come by and check these places because we heard rumors at one of the locations we've been seeing for quite some time. For the last 3 years, we've been filming it. And I'll share it with you in the next video. But the Riverside Drive location, the abandoned old bungalows along the river, I understand that they're bulldozed. So next time we head down that direction towards Mesquite, we're going to take a look and see how they bulldozed those and what they did. But I heard they are down. One of our viewers who's been watching our channel for quite some time had mentioned that. So always want to check here too, because one day I am sure that these two will come down, and that'll be a sad day because this is a part of not only Utah history, national history, but railroad history. Let's take a look at the rest of the town. This would be the main street, actually, of Lund. So the main street itself is just simply the same road that we drove in on. And you'll see a lot of buildings on the right-hand side, the railroad tracks on the left. But these old buildings on the right were here originally. And then what's happened is people have built houses on the same property. This one on the right, you can see, is really old home that was here. And there's a brown puppy dog there watching us. Some old trailers and things, but you can see right next to it, the people are still living on property. So there's a few people still living here. It'd probably be a really tranquil place to live and relaxing, but nobody, again, nobody here. There's like 2 houses. I think this was the building that was the old ticket office, because I've seen pictures before it was boarded up. So that is one of the original buildings that were here, and they just kind of put some siding on it. You could tell by the construction that it was. Let's move forward. This is really the end of the town, and then the road takes a right, headed back up towards Cedar City, about 37 miles from here. But right in front of us is what used to be the old water tower and a railroad stop. So there's a picture of people boarding a train in this area right by this water tower. I'll try to find that photo and share it here But this train used to run all the way into Modena, and Modena is actually a railroad stop where they used to get water as well, with the old Modena Hotel. I'll try to link a video for Modena in this video as well. We'll get a little closer here. This is still active. They still have some track and some railroad stuff here, so probably not supposed to be here too much, but I will try to get a little closer. Okay, so right here on the ground, you can see that there were buildings that they've demolished that were part of Lund, old railroad ties and that. Now, a while back we were here, you can see that they still have some pieces for the railroad and there's a couple of tools there that don't look that old, like maybe, that help remove track and haul some of the track around. But this site here, this building was original to the area. And you can see there would have been the old water tower up there. The last time I was here, there was like generators and things in this building and a lot of equipment. I didn't want to disturb it, but I don't see anything on it now that says no trespassing. It looks like there might be a motor in there, a generator or something, a pump. You can see this had probably some big heavy sliding door on it. Yeah, they've kind of abandoned it now. But this was whatever they use this for railroad. But my understanding is that this was where the water tower was on top of it. Like a little shop that they used. It's got an old brick floor in it there. The heck of an echo in here too. Another steel door over there. Kind of a tub. I'm glad I get to explore this building this time, because last time, like I say, there was railroading equipment. Wow, there's been a hole punched in that one there. Well, there's another part to the building, so this is a second half to it, the windows. And that's where the water tower would have been up there. Oh yeah, there's like a big steel door for being able to roll equipment in and out of there. For issues, Union Pacific Railroad. There's a cement slab back here. No windows on this side. Now there's some foundations here. Pretty heavy foundations. So they probably had something here. I'll look in the photos, see if I can find old photos. Really tough to find old photos in this area or for this area. Well, right up there, you can see there's an old gear at the bottom, like right there. So that maybe was to open and close some of the valve or something on the water. And there's still the old ladder up there too. The old wooden ladder climbing up. And there's a metal door from the outside that was there. There it is. Kind of nice to see that, but that's a big part of the history right here for the railroad. All right. I wish some of these buildings were still standing. It's always that way, though. You get to these locations, they start cleaning it up because some of the buildings are falling down or they catch on fire. But Lund itself was a big part of railroad history right here. Out in the middle of this valley, I call it kind of nothingness. Hardly anybody living out here anymore. A few ranches. A lot of people buy property really inexpensive out here. I'm talking really inexpensive. It's nothing to buy something out here for $2,500 or $5,000 for an acre or so. And people just put a little container on there and come out and live in a trailer or a bus out here. So you can see around me, very rural. The old railroad station in the background or water tower. And some snow-capped mountains off in the distance, and it is freezing. Okay, so we were just driving by, and here's a little placard. Boy, I could have missed this really easy. It says here, Iron County, Utah Centennial Circle. So Iron County Statehood Centennial Committee. After the railroad was extended from Milford to the Nevada state line, Lund was an incorporated station and siding town of the railroad. As it crossed the northwest corner of Iron County, it was named for Robert C. Lund, as we had said earlier, who was a prominent lawyer, railroad director, and state legislature, and mine owner. The first depot consisted of 2 boxcars. Later, a fashionable depot built by the Union Pacific was used for many years. As people came to homestead in the area, a few businesses and schools and post offices came to existence. In 1910, the population was 24. In 1913, it climbed to 52. So a railroad spur was extended into Cedar City in 1923 for freight trains, but passengers were still transported by bus from Lund to the southern Utah national parks and other destinations. So what happened was the people used to come here and they would be dropped off like right over there in that area, the depot area, or possibly, over here in the railroad depot, which I don't see now. But so it was definitely, they were definitely dropped off here, and there were buses like up to Zion National Park for people to see it. That's crazy. The school was closed in 1950 and the post office in 1966. The last passenger bus left for Cedar City in 1969. Crazy. And this is all that's left in Lund. All right, so that's going to do it for today. Here from Lund, Utah, and some railroad history and some fantastic abandoned buildings. Wanted to find out what was left. We hope you enjoyed the adventure, and until the next one, goodbye from Weekend Escapades. The whole time we've been on this adventure, we passed one vehicle on Burl Highway.